welcome to video number 12 of my 13-part series of the 13 big mistakes beginning saxophonists or even experienced saxophonists are making that are preventing them from moving up to the next level and even preventing them from getting started in the first place. This is a huge one. And this one is entitled, Not Learning Piano. Now, I'm not necessarily hugely guilty of this because piano was my first instrument. My story is very simple. I started playing the piano at age 5, really inspired by classical pianist Glenn Gould. Again, I'll give you a selection at the bottom of this video. You'll see some links to some stuff on iTunes and some stuff on Amazon of Glenn Gould. Huge fan of his piano playing, but truthfully, I wasn't taught well the piano in the beginning. Quit the piano at the age of 12, went to band camp, music camp at that time. Very painful experience. In fact, what I can say is that when I was at camp, I went up to a young girl named Rebecca and asked her what grade she was. I was a recorder player at the time, pretty high up in my small town of Mutare, Zimbabwe. And she said to me, her grade was too high for her to even say. I was quite bummed out by this, you know. I went a couple of times later and I was really being insulted. And then when I went in 1996, when I went the first time, actually, to music camp, it was in 94 when I was 12 years old, I found that I was being insulted, you know. It was a lot of racism, a lot of painful experiences, and I was crying outside the basketball courts. And I heard this sound, this beautiful sound. It was the sound of a contrabaritone saxophone. Again, picture below, and I'll probably put a picture in the video so that you can see it. If you're checking it out now, this is what a contrabaritone saxophone looks like. And it was played by a young man by the name of Gabriel Lowe. Gabe was interesting, the boldest saxophonist I've ever met. He played a saxophone exceptionally well, which was taller than him. He had to actually stand on an elephant's foot in order to play this contrabaritone saxophone. But hearing this beautiful melody, you know, I just saw it as a calling. I heard boom. I knew I had to play that instrument. Went hang around with Gabe. He was like a big brother to me. Learned about what it was, and then I pestered my dad to buy me a saxophone. My father did not want me to play the saxophone. He wanted me to play the French horn, which my late baby brother played. But in the end, he bought me a saxophone. And as a result of playing the saxophone, I went on to become a saxophone player. Now, here's an important part. Piano is a critical part of playing the saxophone. And this shocks many people. And again, it goes back to what I said, our history. The fact that playing the saxophone means that you'll be judged by how well you play jazz and popular styles, as opposed to being a classical saxophone player. And playing the piano is also critically important for what I said previously about musicianship and practical musicianship. In fact, playing the piano is so important as a saxophonist that I've actually put a link to my guy who teaches you how to play saxophone. My good friend and mentor, Jermaine Griggs of hearandplay.com, the top music teaching website on the internet, in fact, in the world. I mean, he does really well with this. I'll put a link into his top course of how to play piano by ear. It is that important that I've actually got someone else's course for you to teach you the fundamentals, because you must learn piano. One of the big reasons you need to learn piano and saxophone is because of this issue of chord progressions. Saxophone is a melodic instrument, meaning we can only play one note at a time. We are often accompanied by the piano or a band which plays multiple notes at a time. These are called harmonic instruments because they can harmonize notes. Being unable to understand chord changes or chord progressions, as we call them, right, and sequences is one of the big reasons why people cannot improvise proficiently, because they don't understand what is going on. Now, what I say to you is you need to learn from the piano first and then move up to the saxophone. This is how all us pros play. We all play piano. Now, do we play piano to the level of a concert pianist? No, this is the truth. But we do play piano fairly proficiently because we need to understand this. So this is something you cannot delay on. In fact, just doing this alone and then moving on to playing the saxophone will put you in good stead. Because in Jermaine's course, he goes through everything, including a few pointers on reading music. But again, it's made for mainly the musician who wants to hear and play, which is perfect. Because this is what you want to get. You want to get your practical musicianship down. You want to get everything down in there. Also, coupled with that other second book, which I did, some of you may look at the course and say to yourself that, you know what would happen if I want to read music from this perspective? That's why I put a second book in. Now, this book was the same book I offered when I spoke to you about learning musicianship. and practical musicianship, again, that link is in there. So let me be clear. Get Jermaine's course is cheap as chips. It's only about $40 US, less than 40 quid. Ships it out really good and proper. Make sure you get part of the Hear and Play community, because that is how he's the best guy I've seen to teach you piano the right way, the way you should understand it, particularly when you're coming to play the saxophone. But more importantly, I have created my own supplement. This is my own 30-page supplement, which I go through various parts of it and start to speak about the reading of music. Because to put it quite frankly, Jermaine does not speak about reading music in his course. He touches on it here and there. But obviously, you would need a supplement which actually helps you with that. My supplement is also prepared for the other book, which is How to Play Piano Despite Years of Lessons. You've also seen that book in. You need both books. Yes, it's critical that you have them. These are also called reference books, because you'll be referring them all the way through your musical career, regardless of what instrument you play, including the saxophone. In my supplement, I start speaking about it from the English perspective. Again, use of English terminology such as crotchets, such as tones, semitones. From that perspective, I also start to speak about little nuances which I've found which are applicable in playing the saxophone, especially this issue of transposition, which many of you have problems with. Now, in order to get my supplement, which is a complimentary supplement, you need to buy these books through the links I've put there. The supplement is not even available for sale. I mean, I mainly use this in my workshops and my private musical students. It's only available if you actually purchase these two products through my links, right? Either here on YouTube or on my blog. And I'll send you through the PlaySaxNow supplement, which actually speaks about how these work. Now, here's a very important point to actually say right now. Nearly all the saxophonists I speak with, and I see coaching up and down the country here in the UK, even online, very few take this idea of you learning the piano seriously. I have heard guys such as one guy, I mean, again, his website is well known, learning to play saxophone, the jazz approach. But there's nothing about piano in there. Now, how do you play jazz saxophone without piano when the piano chord progressions are what inform you on what you're going to improvise or what you're going to play? So this is a big, big problem. And I think the issue comes from the fact that when people want to go and put music lessons online and this and that, they want to shortcut the process too much. Unfortunately, music does have a steep learning curve. This is the reason why there's so few musicians per unit of the population. That's why musicians on the top level get paid so much money. Because the truth is there is such a steep learning curve. And the dichotomy, or if you would say the irony of being a musician is, despite musicians being very well trained, over 95% of us are very poorly paid. Because of that, most people, and you would assume the fact that playing music is easy, it is not. Even playing the saxophone isn't easy. And what further frustrates you is that when you're trying to learn, it seems like every teacher you go to is missing stuff out. This is why I started PlaySaxNow. I looked at what was on the market and I realized the problem isn't actually stripping down and making this more simple. The problem is that by stripping down and making it too simple, we're getting a lot of people who are frustrated in their abilities to play the saxophone. I see people who have gone and trained at other so-called maverick online places. And when they come to play with me, there is so much missing. I'm troubled. So one of the key ingredients missing is the ability to play the piano and understand what is happening with chord progressions. Because if you're like the majority of people who come to me, you want to play the saxophone, you want to solo, you want to understand what is going on, all this is covered by learning to understand how to play the piano. And more importantly, to play the piano by ear, having what is called a piano player technique, right? Even in the other book I showed you, this one teaches you how to pick out notes, but add your own chords in. All this is critically important because the saxophone is a melodic instrument which you're going to improvise over. Now, let me go over the key points in this. Number one, you need to learn piano. There is no way avoiding it. Again, there's some of you out there who say guitar, no, piano, right? Because I've not found any course in the guitar which is going to teach you this. Number two, the idea that the saxophone is a transposing instrument is a very important one, because understanding that as a melodic instrument, you're playing one note at a time over chord changes, some sort of accompaniment by the piano. Being able to understand this gives you the basis of understanding soloing, improvisation, and playing by ear. Number three, It is a complex process. You will have to learn a lot of different terminology, but this is the shortcut process, I assure you. People have actually taken a longer time to learn an instrument or given up because they've not understood these fundamentals in the beginning. I am really taking you down the shortest way, but as one mentor of mine said, it's not a question of a short path to learn the saxophone. It's the wisest path to learn the saxophone, and this is the one. Too many teachers brush over this issue of learning piano. That's why I've put an actual course, in fact, 2 different courses down here, which I encourage you to buy, because it's very important that you get these fundamentals down. This makes it a lot simpler when you're improvising. It also takes your piano playing to the next level, no matter what genre you're playing, whether it be classical or jazz and popular styles. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we're almost on the home stretch. I'll take you to video number 13. This one is a really powerful video, which you need to see, right? Remember to like this video, to actually put comments in, and also remember to actually share it with all those people around you who are interested in learning to play the saxophone. Also, most importantly, let's come to video number 13, which is not controlling your own learning. This one is a critical one. And I think this one is extremely important because this is what happens when people give up unnecessarily. But as an adult learner, you need to be in control of your own learning. I'll go into it in depth in video number 13. I look forward to seeing you in video number 13. And remember to play your sax now.